Well, welcome back to all the future aspiring ghostwriters and potential cover authors. This is the Ghostwriter channel, and a question that we get a lot these days: should you use speech recognition software? Well, like all technology, speech recognition software has a place. Now, when I'm talking about speech recognition software, I'm talking about things like Dragon Naturally Speaking, a lot of these voice recognition softwares where you talk into a microphone and it just types out the text. A lot of people don't even know that Microsoft Word has it built in. Comes with it just for having Word. So you don't even need to go out and buy Dragon Naturally Speaking. So for example, if you just open up a Word document, come down to your search bar and type speech recognition software, you'll see it pop up. Click there, and it'll start right here at the top for you. Now, if it's the first time that you've used it, it will step through a little tutorial. You kind of have to do a basic training. It's just a real quick read so that it understands your voice. But once you've launched it, just click on the microphone. Hello, comma, this is speech recognition software, exclamation mark. And there you go. It'll type it right out for you. So it's not that the technology is hard to find or even that it's expensive. The question is, should you use it? It's very easy to think, and in fact there was a commercial that used to air a few years ago of a woman who would talk about how she came over to the country and became a doctor, and she just reels off this entire book, makes it look like you can write a book just as quickly as you can speak. Well, it's really a bad idea. And the reason is that good writing must sound conversational. But that doesn't mean it's a good idea to carry on a conversation with yourself and expect it to turn into a good book. So think of it like actors from a good movie scene. They don't have the time to waste words. Every single word in there is put in there for a reason. It is rehearsed relentlessly, hundreds or thousands of times, even though it might be a very small segment of the movie. And yeah, it'll look like it was just reeled right off the top of their heads, but that's why they're professional actors. It sounds conversational, but it's very rehearsed. The problem is that speech recognition software ends up making your book sound unrefined, hurried, and unplanned. It sounds just like somebody turned on a recorder and here's a transcript. It's not going to turn out well. So for example, let's say that you've been a financial planner for a number of years and you decide to write a book, so you flip on the microphone and start out like this. Well, I thought it would be a good idea to write a book because I've been in the financial planning business a long time and I have a lot of things to share with you that will help you make better financial decisions. So many people make bad choices with money because they really have no financial background and it's just not taught in schools. So do you see what happens? It starts sounding like it's just rambling. The thoughts are just flowing off the top of your head and there's not really any thought to the order or to the exact words. However, if you were sitting across from somebody having lunch and they were having this conversation, it would be fine. It's okay for a conversation, it's not okay for a book. However, you could take this, if you wanted to use the technology, and at least use it for your first draft. But then you have to go through and revise it. So a lot of times I might receive work like this and say, okay, I understand the gist of what they're trying to do, but let's revise it. Maybe we'll put in a little bit of an introduction here and say they may be your losses, but they're probably not your fault. This is what we call a hook. People are going, what might be your losses? I'm not really sure what they're talking about. Let me read the next sentence. So this is what you want to do to get the reader to continue reading. So the next sentence might be, whether you've taken large stock market losses, have a bad credit score, or simply have too much month left at the end of your money, they're a reflection of bad decisions. Next sentence. But everyday finance just isn't taught in schools, so don't blame yourself for not knowing the answer. Okay, so now maybe it's time to introduce yourself. We could say, I've been in the financial planning business for over 20 years and decided to write a book to share some of the industry secrets that'll help you make excellent financial decisions. Okay, so the point is, it still sounds a little bit like it's a conversation we could just be having over lunch, but it's planned. It's something that's not going to just come out as soon as you turn on a recorder. Now, of course, as I've talked about in previous videos with the revising, you don't just stop here either. We might look at this and say, well, this is a little wordy. Let's take out whether you've taken, let's take out have a bad credit score. Maybe I could tighten up that sentence to be large stock market losses, bad credit scores, or simply having too much month left at the end of your money are reflections of bad decisions. So once again, you've got to go over and over this process of revising, and each time it gets a little tighter, a little stronger, but it still sounds conversational. Now, of course, we could go back in and maybe throw in some humor. Instead of saying bad credit scores, maybe say negative credit scores. And then in the next sentence, okay, there's no such thing as a negative credit score, but sometimes financial pressures make it feel that way. And then continue on. So once again, it starts sounding to the reader like this was just right off the top of your head. But trust me, this is not how it's going to come off just because you hit the recorder and start reeling off thoughts. So if you want to use speech recognition software, understand the limitations. You can certainly use it for the first draft to get your ideas down. Or if you're a little more used to writing, you can think about at least sort of planning the sentences. Don't just talk into it and then kind of go slowly sentence by sentence or paragraph by paragraph. And it can at least keep you from having to type. But just understand that if you use this software, you're going to end up with a lot of extraneous words, a lot of tangents, a lot of repeats, added words, and realize you've got to do a lot of editing to make it sound conversational, yet be clear and concise. If you'd like to talk to someone about potentially hiring a ghostwriter, please call 561-282-9455. You can also email ghosthost@financeghostwriter.com.